Watching the trailer for this episode, I was a bit skeptical about why in the 11th episode of the season would they introduce the Team Battleizer mode when Samurai was split into two seasons specifically for that reason. It felt to me that just like last week, the show might be introducing things a little too quickly. However, Megaforce has always been a show to surprise me, and after viewing this episode, for lack of better words, it's frickin' awesome! The episode opens with the Rangers arriving at the command center, and Gosei tells them that there is an ancient weapon known as the Wild Sword. No, Wild Sword. No, the other Wild Sword. There we go. Anyway, Gosei says that the sword is incredibly powerful and the Rangers must find it before it falls into evil hands. While searching for the Black Mountains where the sword is located, the Rangers unknowingly pass by Vrock, who, after hearing about the sword, comes up with a plan to keep the Rangers busy with a creature known as Distractor. I know, just go with it, so that he can find the sword and use it for evil. The Rangers continue searching through the mountains until they see the city being attacked. Troy calls Tensu to see what's going on, but Tensu says he's not picking up any attack. The team morphs to check out the situation anyway and find a giant Distractor attacking the city. The Rangers quickly form the Megazord and begin fighting, but realize something's amiss when Distractor acts like he is losing despite never getting hit. Meanwhile, Vrock finds the sword while looking through the mountains, but can't get to it because it's protected by a force field. Back with the Rangers, Distractor summons up a whole group of monsters, including Psychotic and Hisser, and the Rangers try to fight, but their strikes go straight through the monsters. Suddenly, a giant Robo Knight appears and tells the Rangers that the whole thing is an illusion and that the monsters are fakes. Robo Knight continues fighting the Distractor, and he says he will hold off the creature while the Rangers go find the sword. The Rangers run off and find the sword, but Vrock is there guarding it. The Rangers engage Vrock in a fight, but in the middle of it, Vrock suddenly vanishes. The Rangers, thinking they have won, go to retrieve the sword, unwittingly breaking the force field surrounding it. With the encouragement of the others, Troy pulls the sword free from the stone it was in, but it breaks away from his grip, and Vrock immediately captures it. Vrock then admits that he telepathically told Distractor to let the Rangers go and keep Robo Knight busy so that the Rangers could break the force field and he could get his hands on the sword. The Rangers try to stop Vrock, but using the power of the Wild Sword, he nearly finishes them off. Once the Rangers are down, Vrock tells Distractor that their original plan is back on, and both of them leave their respective fights. Vrock begins destroying the city with the Wild Sword, but it starts to resist him before the Rangers and Robo Knight arrive on the scene. After shocking the sword so it will obey him, Vrock gives some of the sword's power to Distractor, who then creates the same group of monsters from earlier. Thinking that the monsters are still illusions, the Rangers charge, but the sword has made the creatures real and the team is struck down. The Rangers put up a pretty good fight against the monsters, but they are too strong and the Rangers are taken down. Vrock tries to finish the Rangers off with the Wild Sword, but it keeps resisting him and goes out of control. Troy then realizes that the sword is resisting Vrock because it is a force for good and does not want to destroy the planet. And in another display of complete badassery, Troy drops his sword and charges Vrock, grabbing the mouth of the sword as Vrock repeatedly blasts Troy with it. While being blasted, Troy is able to connect with the spirit of the dragon within the sword, but Vrock says that is impossible for a human and shrugs Troy off. Before Vrock can finish Troy with the sword, it breaks free from his grasp, and a voice from Gosei says that by taming the sword, the Rangers have unlocked the Ultra Zords that will give them more power. The Rangers are then granted their own Ultra Swords that allow them to connect to the dragon's power and morph into Ultra mode. Using their new powers, the Rangers engage the monsters once again, and after a very awesome fight sequence that demonstrates the Rangers' new abilities, the Rangers use the Ultra Dynamic Blast to finish off all the monsters save for Vrock, who has retreated. Afterwards, the group heads back to the command center to celebrate, and the episode ends with Troy thinking to himself, and Gia says that he was very brave today and that he should relax and celebrate with the others. There are a lot of elements that make this a great episode. First and foremost, it's very nostalgic and uses many plot elements from past seasons. The overall premise of the episode is very reminiscent to the Lights of Orion saga from Lost Galaxy, and Distractor's ability to create illusion seems to be influenced by a lot of Mighty Morphin, more specifically the Island of Illusion two-parter. Also, is it just me, or does the Ultra mode look very similar to the legendary mode of the Mystic Rangers? However, even with all the similarities to past seasons, I was full-on ready to hate this episode up until the halfway point. The Rangers in the beginning didn't seem to be given much credit, even though we've seen them be smarter than this in past episodes. I mean, the monster's called Distractor, and the Rangers keep fighting him in confusion until Robo Knight shows up and tells them this is a distraction. However, when Vrock reveals that he told Distractor to let the Rangers go and fight Robo Knight, I decided to give the Rangers a break since even I didn't see that one coming. After that point, the episode continues to build in tension because of how powerful the Wild Sword is, leading to an absolutely awesome climax with the Rangers in Ultra mode. Also, the Rangers being granted power cards by the Zords themselves makes that whole moment much more epic, and it's always nice to see the Rangers at the command center. I'm also curious to see what Troy is thinking about at the end of the episode, and if that will be a factor later on in the season. Well, that's 3 great episodes in a row. You're on a roll, Saban. Keep it up. I'm Nick, aka Iron Man 1993, and may the power protect you.